What's going on, guys? It's Wednesday night, and here we are again, Squadron Live. Thank you for joining me this evening. We had a pretty fun evening planned, but plans have just literally in the past 45 seconds changed on us. But it's all good. We're going to wing it tonight and have a good time anyway. Um, Jeff had a nice video that he was preparing to share with you guys. He's been doing a full build over the last day or so to show off this paint. His video did not work out like intended, and then I was planning on showing you how the new sections of the website work, and in an effort to make the website better, I overloaded our product system and I have just crashed the entire website. So I apologize about that. My IT guys, they are on it. I have no idea how long, but at the moment, you will not be able to search for anything and probably can't find anything on the site. So I noticed, let's see, Joseph Carpenter. How are you this evening, by the way? Did you miss out on the Fort Drum? No, we've got a few left, but you can't find it on the website right now unless you happen to know exactly how to get to it, which you probably don't, but here it is. We do have a few left. I've got 8 left, in fact. But yeah, if you search for stuff, it's just going to spin and spin and spin and nothing's going to happen. So I apologize. I've been working on this nonstop, and I was excited to show you how the new paint section works, how you are able to filter the paints by nationality, by era, all sorts of fun stuff. But it's just going to have to wait till another evening, I suppose. So I do have something that has to do with the paint that I can show you that's pretty exciting, and we'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's see who else is with us tonight. Joseph, of course, is with us. Ken, good to see you tonight. And Ken says he got a glimpse of the paint chart before the site crashed. Well, good. I'll pull it up in a minute. And now that he has let that cat out of the bag, yes, last week I mentioned that we were very close to having our full paint chart ready to share with you. And I was not sure if I was going to have it ready by this evening or not, but we finished it up, at least one side of it, the historical side. This got your World War II colors and that sort of thing. The back side of the paint chart, which is not ready yet, has all of your science fiction colors and figure colors and monster colors and that sort of thing on it. So that'll be coming, but we'll take a look at that here in a few minutes. Carlos, good to see you tonight, my friend. And Danny, looks like you're not going to be here next week, but you're going to be over at the Yorktown. Well, that sounds a lot more fun than hanging out with me on a Wednesday night. So enjoy that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Take a lot of pictures for your 200 scale build. That'll be awesome. Enjoy that trip for sure, and we'll see you after. Derek, good to see you tonight, buddy. Home of the first patented helicopter. Okay. That's awesome. Good to see you tonight. Brian is here with us. And David. Bill from Virginia. Any updates on the slow boat from China? I think they stopped for carry out a few times, and considering they're in the ocean, that's pretty hard to do, right? It's just par for the course, I think. But it has finally showed up over here, and it's sitting right off the coast, waiting for its turn to come into port and unload. Fingers crossed that'll happen over the weekend, and we'll finally be able to ship out these long-awaited pre-orders, which there's a lot of pre-orders in there, but a couple of the most requested over the past few weeks, kind of, where's it at, is the TACOM 32 scale. Got to make sure I get my scale right. Horton bombers. Those are in there. The X Plus Red Sonja is in there, and all sorts of other goodies. So those will be coming out. Now, talking about pre-orders finally showing up, the Airfix Lysanders did finally show up today. So maybe you didn't even know about those. Here they are. Here you can find those on the website because it's right on the front page. But these are finally here. and they're moving on out. Wow, we're okay. They'll be gone soon, but that's I will have to get some more. That's a pretty cool kit. It's a all new tool, and it's been pretty popular so far. So check that out. Let's see, what else do we have in here tonight? Um, Wayne, good to see you tonight, my friend. And Scotty's with us. Good to see you, man. Um, World War I Navy sets. So I'll get into what we don't have and why in a little while when we pull up this paint chart. But this paint chart's kind of going to go over what we do have now, and what we're going to focus on making sure we keep in stock uh, at all times. And we're just going to let that run for a little while and see how it goes. And as far as new colors and other colors, like I've said before, the sky's the limit. There's all sorts of stuff that we could do. There's even things that I want from my personal model building that we don't have yet. So more things will come down the road, I'm sure, but we'll jump into what we do have here shortly. David, good to see you tonight, buddy. And Tom's with us. And he's asking Jeff about other colors, and again, same thing like I was telling Scott. We'll jump into what we do have and what we don't have and why here in just a little while. Ted, good to see you tonight. And Ed is with us. Ken, good to see you, buddy. There you go. Yeah. So Ed, I had sent like Ed said here, I sent him an image of our original paint rack strips that, as you will see in a moment, Ed, has been added to in a pretty big way, including some of the things you were asking me about to the shade of green. So I think you'll like it. Fred, good to see you tonight, man. And TD's with us from Ohio. Arnell coming to us out on the West Coast. Tom building some F-106s. That'll be good. Putting them in the museum. Very cool. Rick, good evening, buddy. See, Robert's with us and Kenneth, Matt. Showtime indeed. Hey, Jason. Yeah, just a couple days away from the show this weekend. I was taking a look at the IPMS website for all the model shows because we try to do our best to support the shows as much as we can. Just maybe a gift card or two or whatever for the raffle. So I was sending some emails out and I was looking. I say that it's show season, model show season for us down here in the Southeast, but it's not just down here, it's everywhere. There are so many shows the past couple of weekends and coming up in the next couple of weekends. I think this weekend there's like 6 shows going on. I know Jeff, they have their show up where he lives up in Wisconsin. So just all sorts of shows. So make sure if you get a chance, and you can find this through our website, it's ipmsusa.org, but you can always find it here in this Friends and Shows link down here at the bottom, this button on the left, the International Plastic Modelers Society, and go into this chart and all these little black dots. These are where all the shows are. So this weekend, let's see, this is where we will be this weekend, AtlantaCon. But all sorts of shows going on around the country. I know Jeff's show is up here, this Mad City Modelers annual contest. But anyway, this map here gives you all the shows for IPMS. Now, don't think that IPMS is the only game in town because they're not. AMPS, this is another organization that focuses primarily on armor models, military vehicles, that sort of thing. So you can come here, you can see where their events are. They don't have quite as many, but these shows are specifically military vehicles that you're not going to find aircraft and ships and all that. I mean, sometimes you'll see 1 or 2 in their miscellaneous categories, but for the most part, if you're a military vehicle guy, this is the club for you. And then there's other shows around, you hear me talking about Wonderfest a lot. And then there's, if you come back over here to the IPMS page. This show here in Cartersville, this Acme, this is a group of car enthusiasts. So these Acme shows, they're all about car models. So if you're a car modeler, hook up with an Acme club and it'll be awesome. But shows are really, really fun because you get to, and I talk about this a lot, I know, but every time that I'm about to actually go to a show in a couple of days, I seem to talk about it more. But as you know, if you've been to a show, it's a great way to hook up with other modelers, share tips, get tips, and become a better modeler. So it's a lot of fun. Check that out. If you've got a show anywhere near you, I encourage you to go. And if you don't, and you wanted to travel to a show just to experience it, I would highly recommend the national show, which this year is in Virginia. It's well worth the drive or the flight. A lot of people fly. People from all around the world come to it, actually. So anyway, Jason, looking forward to seeing you this weekend and anybody else that happens to be able to be there. Kimberly, good to see you tonight. Hope you're having a good evening. And Michael, same to you. The way is with us. Let's see. Robert's building some Battle of Britain. That'll be cool. Hey, buddy. Good to see you tonight, Philip. Dave's Plastic Model Reviews is here. And Monty. Yeah, Tom, talking about the weather. We've got some weather headed this way this weekend too. So it's hopefully it won't be bad. I know it'll be a lot of rain, but rain is a good time to be inside at a model show for sure. The 32 scale B17Gs, I don't have any more coming in at the moment. And if they do come back at any point in the future, they're not going to be in that final countdown section, which is what I assume you are referring to. And by the way, if you missed my email yesterday that went out, I switched up on y'all this week and sent an email Tuesday instead of Wednesday. But this final countdown sale, if you go to our website up under all products and final countdown, this is our blowout sale that we're having right now. And there's some really good prices on some of this stuff in here. But my intention is at some point tomorrow, all of this stuff, and there are 6 pages full of things, and I'm trying to delete them out of here as quick as possible once they sell out. Here, this half track from AFE Club is gone, so I'll be deleting that soon. But my intention is at some point tomorrow, all this is going to disappear off the site because whatever's left is going to go with me to the show this weekend. We took our scratch and dent stuff with us to the Amps and Figure show a few weeks ago, and we ended up selling most of it. We got a little bit of it left, so whatever I do have left, I'm going to take with me this weekend. But to add to that clearance section, if you will, I decided we would take the final countdown sale with us on the road this weekend. So make sure to look through that page now or with this evening or first thing in the morning or whenever and grab up those good deals while they last. Because like I said, before I leave the shop tomorrow, my intention is all that stuff's going to go away so we can pack it in the trailer. Let's see. Lee, catching some fumes tonight. All right. That's I guess that's what we do, right? Sniffing the plastic. Let's see. Glenn, good to see you tonight, my friend. Just scrolling down through here and making sure I said hey to everybody. If I miss anybody, forgive me. I'm scrolling through a little quick so we can move on to some other things. Stuart, good to see you tonight. James is with us, and Sparky. Mad Genius is here. Recon's with us, loving the paint. That's awesome, man. I'm glad you're having a good time with it. Brian, using some of the hot sauce. Yeah, it's I use it quite often. I think I'm our #1 customer for our hot sauce, but that's to be expected, I think. But I'm glad you enjoy it. All right. I think I have just about caught up with the chat for now, so I'm going to say hello and welcome to anybody else that I missed. I do apologize if I missed you. So earlier today, I did something very interesting. I had, I do these interviews from time to time. The most recent one I posted was with Vlad from Edward, but I've done several others that you may have seen on the channel. Today I did another one, and this time with Lee Leibold, which you guys have seen. I've had him on Wednesday night live with me before, and he is the guy that has and owns all of the original Squadron Signal Publications artwork. And he's been selling it. We have been selling it for him. It's listed on our website. It's been a little while since we posted any new artwork, and this is sort of because we knew we were going to be doing this interview at some point. And we wanted, when I post this video sometime in the next week or two, we're going to post the video and couple that with, he said he's going to try to send me, 2 or 3 dozen new artworks to put on the website for sale. So it'll be interesting, and it was cool because the timing worked out. We're still getting ready to open our retail store here in Ringgold, and we're to the point now we're trying to decorate it and hang up all of our cool stuff on the walls and make it look neat. So I had to get, I've got just not very many, but I've got a couple of the original artworks here. And here's one of them that I really like. This is Flak Bait, the B-26. And it's really neat, now it gets to go to the store and hang up there, but it's been here. And it's really cool because I'm looking forward to building the Flak Bait from ICM. So it's neat seeing this that Don Greer painted, being able to, imagine building the kit to perhaps look like Don's artwork. It's just really neat stuff. And when you guys see the video with Lee, he's got like dozens of these paintings all around him in his studio. It's just really cool stuff. And then I had forgot that I had this. This is not a Don Greer. This is actually a painting that Wayne Scarpacci did for us as Blue Ridge Models years ago. This is the USS Growler, and this was used as the box art when we did this as a 350th scale resin kit many years ago. And Wayne Scarpacci, if you know him, he did some books a few years ago, and I was a big fan of his work because he's just like me. He's into all of the weird, wacky ships. So he had some what if ship books and just really neat stuff. So I pulled that out today so I can get that framed up and hung in the shop. So just wanted to show you guys that because it's an oldie but a goodie. And as I was going through all those old things, I found this too. And this is something that we're going to have to get back into production at some point. This is the CVA 58, the carrier that was never built, the USS United States. 1/700 scale. This was a really fun project back when we did this, and this has been years ago. Another one of those things that I had forgot that we did until I pulled it out today. So really cool stuff. All right, let me jump over here, and I think, let me look in my back end here. I got Jeff is ready to go, so I'm going to pull him in here, and we're going to talk about this this paint chart that we finally have posted to show you guys. Jeff, I hope you're ready, because here you come.
Hope I'm ready.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Likewise.
Your background there is getting progressively nicer each week.
Each week now.
Looks like a model room now.
Well, this is actually this area that I'm in is 20 something feet long, and this was my workbench area. So this whole area has been converted into an office, and now everything is moved to the other side of the shop, including all of the 3D printers and and my work area, my workbench, my little studio work area here for filming, and then of course the serious, workbench is on the other side. So yeah, we're slowly but surely trying to make it a livable space.
There you go. Well, good, good, good. So we're going to talk, since we're shifting gears tonight, we can talk about the paint chart. But guys, as you have questions, send the questions in, and if it looks like a rabbit that makes sense to chase, we'll do it. I'm going to answer Miami Dolphins question here. So yes, Nautilus Models was owned by James Corley, and he was a good friend of a lot of us.
Yep.
And yes, he died. It was what, 2 years ago, Jeff?
2 years ago. Yeah.
So, but yes, his company. To be completely honest with you, I don't know. I think I might know, but I'm not going to say because I'm not certain what has happened to his company. But at the moment, none of those items are currently available on the market. So, where I think they went, if the guy does anything with them, we'll certainly, be one of the first to know. But at the moment, none of that is available. All right. Well, if we're going to talk about paint, we're just going to jump right in with a question from Bill. And I'm going to give this one to you, Jeff, because this is a big can of worms. What's the best color for German gray?
RAL 7021. That is the official designation for German Panzer Dunkelgrau. There are, I don't know, can we use the term paint Nazis? I don't know if we're allowed to use that term or not. There are some modelers out there who are beyond rabidly obsessive about what is the proper shade of Panzer Gray, what is the proper shade of, this color or that color. So when I was doing my research on the color, RAL 7021 is the prescribed color. Everyone agrees on it. Even all the other paint manufacturers agree that 7021 is Panzer Gray. Where they start to disagree is whether or not there's any blue pigment in the paint, which there is not. So I don't want to knock on anyone, but to me is Panzer Gray is got blue in it.
Right.
So
the fact is the RAL number, everybody agrees on that, but
everybody agrees on that.
What exactly that number looks like is up for debate to some extent.
And there are some conspiracy theorists out there who say that the RAL system changed, and I made a long distance phone call to Germany about 3 or 4 years ago, and I was asking to speak to one of their research or reference staff members, and I got this nice lady on the phone who spoke English, and when I told her I was looking for German World War II colors, she got very aggressive and very defensive. I don't know what she had, what she was thinking that I was up to or something, but what I did learn, and the lesson that I got from this wonderful lady, and she has since, we communicate on a fairly regular basis pertaining to color research. At the end of the war, the RAL, which is an actual organization.
Yeah, and Jeff, hold on just a second. For anybody that doesn't know, think of RAL as the German FS system. Correct. Or a Pantone system or something. It's a standardized color system.
Yeah. What they did, and don't think, I mean, RAL has color standards for everything from fire hydrants to the color of blue that denotes subway signs or bus stop signs. All of those colors are prescribed colors. What they did was all of the colors that the Third Reich picked as their colors for their flags or their insignias or many of their military colors, they simply just removed them from the fan deck. So you will find numerical inconsistencies, and the colors don't, for example, RAL 7000 and RAL 7001 are different colors, but they're not sequential. So they're not a gradient system. So you can't, 7038 might actually be lighter than 7001. So they removed all of the controversial colors, and 7021 managed to survive, apparently because it was a railroad color, a Reichsbahn or Volksbahn color, German railroad color. So the color has not changed. So if you can find an RAL chip book, and most of your commercial paint stores have RAL references, there's RAL references online and things of that nature, because it's still an industrial standard. It's still being used today, actively. So if you get those numbers, you can match them up. And then, of course, who makes the most accurate one? Well, we do.
I'm going to grab something off the bookshelf, Jeff. I think you know where I'm going.
Oh, yeah. We're about to get into the geekery of color. So if you have an interest in the history of color and military colors and naval colors and things, of what he is holding right there is the absolute holy grail of color theory and science. Do you want a drum roll, or do you want me to just keep talking?
No, you go ahead.
What he is holding in his hands is an original 1929 Munsell Book of Color. And this was the official color standard that all of the countries, well, most of the countries, used all the way through World War II.
The 362nd one ever produced.
And it is the 360 of the first edition. Yeah. So it is, that is a unicorn. So we were fortunate enough to find a young woman who this belonged to her grandfather, who had owned a textile company. And she was an art student, and it was given to her as a memento. And she came to the conclusion that she no longer had a need for it. So we reached out to her and obtained the book. And what this is going to do is it's going to end a lot of speculation pertaining to official colors. The U.S. Navy, the Royal Navy, the Luftwaffe, there have been, countless references made to specific colors that use the 1929 Munsell Book of Color.
Yeah, and it is a color chip book.
So yeah, and those are not, unlike the Pantone books that are done with inks, these are actually painted samples. So this covers just an astronomical amount of research for us. Previously, if you needed a 1929 Munsell Book of Color, an original, you had to go to a university research library. You weren't allowed to take the books out, obviously, because of their rarity. So this is really going to take Squadron Scale Colors to the next level, because now it ends, I don't want to necessarily say speculation, but it ends us having to run 1,000 miles to research a single color. Now we can just pull it off the shelf and match it up, and we're good to go.
It's crazy. 100 years old, just about.
Yeah, it really is. And the Munsell system also still exists, but they have in fact changed their color coding system numerous times. I believe it was 64, 72, and then again in the 80s. So if you reference a Munsell code, which is a 3 sets of digit numbers that reference hue, value, and chroma for a specific color, each one of those, if 111 in 1929 is different than 111 in 1964, which is different than 111 in 1972. So you actually have to know which standard they're referencing insofar as the Munsell Book of Color is concerned.
Yeah, and what's good for us is considering the majority of what we as modelers are interested in is in the 1930s and 40s, which came from the 1929 edition
Correct.
of the Munsell.
Yeah, they didn't alter the standard until well after World War II. So any references that were made to colors using the Munsell system during World War II had to reference the 1929 color standard. So, yep, that's going to be our golden egg moving forward.
Well, let's pull this this paint chart up real quick and talk about that because there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, and let's see, get as close as you can, and that's the other thing that that Jeff and I talk about quite often is, we get these colors as accurate as we possibly can, and then we spray our model, and it's like so accurate, and then we cover it with washes and pigments and filters and all this other stuff, and it looks great. That's the effect we're going for. But like Recon Models is saying here, get as close and then lighten it or darken it as you wish. And
Yeah,
that really just goes into the whole idea of it's your model. If you want it to be a certain shade, do it. And Jeff, I think that's kind of why you did the Dunkelgelb 3 revised.
correct. It's not an actual color. Dunkelgelb 3 is not a historical color. That's a caveat color. So the notation of 3 was assigned by me. And the problem that we got, or that we had, was that modelers were saying that when they used 7028, RAL 7028, the base color was too dark by the time they finished putting layers and layers and layers of stuff on it. So I was asked by a group of modelers at AMPS Nationals a few years ago, could I do this color lighter and brighter? And so I agreed, and I did a lighter, brighter version of 7028. And now guys like it because they spray it, and it looks wrong when you put it down in its base form. But then when you start putting browns and washes and filters and everything over the top of it, when you're done toning it down, it's where it's supposed to look, based on their perceptive conditioning.
Right.
And
don't worry, that's the only color in the whole line right now that's that way, and we make an asterisk note of that. So let me pull this up here, and if anybody wants to see this, it is listed on the front page of the website. Go to squadron.com, and over here on the left, down below the catalog, you'll see this Squadron Scale Colors color chart. Click on that, and that's going to take you to this PDF page.
And I'll bring that up on my side because I can't see it.
Yeah, and you can zoom in as you wish. So,
where do you want to start?
Well, I'll say this first. You notice, like here over on the left, right below Scale Black, where you have indigo and violet and pink, that like tannish, pinkish, peach background color. Those are all the colors that are not ready yet. Everything in white, these are the ones that are ready now. Well, they are ready as soon as the website, my IT guys get the website fixed. And there are, let me see, I don't know exactly how this many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. There are 12 colors on this list that are white because they're ready, but they're actually not on the website yet. Crystal just finished these up, and we'll have those. I got to take pictures of all these, but there's the last dozen colors are done. We just got to get pictures of them and all that. So within a week or so, everything that's white should be in stock. Maybe save one or two if there's if any trouble or whatever. But that's kind of the deal with this. Everything that's white, that's what we've got now. Everything that's in pink, we've been talking about a phase 1 and a phase 2. The pink stuff is our phase 2. And I don't want to throw any specific target dates out, but we would like to have every one of these colors at nationals this year. So, we're looking at still another 2 or 3 months out before all of these colors are available for you to order. So
Now, all of the color research is done
Yep.
for these colors. So the colors that are in the tan, all of the color research has been done, and I believe most of the base material has been mixed for those colors.
yeah,
So
all
now
the
it's just a matter of getting them bottled and into into the system, into the
yeah,
inventory
yeah,
system.
all the paint is here, but I'm just trying not to burden Crystal too much. And to be completely honest with you, the labels for them are not ready yet. So even if she came in here tonight
Right.
and said they're all done, I've got to do label artwork. So we're working on that. So all that will be coming, but like Jeff said, all the research is done. The paint exists. We just got to get them bottled up, labeled, and ready for you guys. But uh, Jeff, what are we looking at here? So in the universal colors, universal is kind of what we use for the rainbow, if you will, and the rainbow, which is just your standard colors: red, yellow, orange, blue, green. But then also you'll see a few colors in here that are just colors that can be used pretty much for anything, like boot top black, your canvas white. My favorite one that I knew was on the list, but we didn't really let the cat out of the bag too much over the past couple of weeks, is that USN Spar, the
Right.
1890s buff color. Um, so that's kind of the concept on the universal colors, is it's not tied to any particular nation or nationality. It's just standard colors.
Right.
Not,
These are the colors that, if your daughter decides she wants a pink tiger tank, well, guess what? We have that covered. And hey, don't laugh. I mean,
no, you're right.
that happens,
You're right.
But universal colors, part of the reason that I did this way back in the day, um, especially for what we do as modelers, historical colors are mission critical to what we do. There is no color in the world that is identical to 20B deck blue. It's a very dark blue with a hint of green in it. Some paint company might come along and have, some goofy name for it, and there's something similar to it. But 20B deck blue is one of those specific colors. It's recognizable. Everyone knows what it's supposed to look like. So my goal when I started Scale Colors was to have these historically accurate colors available to the modeler so that they didn't have to do the mad scientist thing and mix 3 parts of dark gray with 2 parts of gray and 1 part red, and you get the color that you need. Because at the end of the day, you can never mix 2 colors the same way if you're doing it by hand. There's always going to be some variation. And we've even seen it with paint manufacturers in the past, where you get a bottle of blue and then you buy that same bottle of blue 2 years later, and it's a different, it's a different shade, it's a different color. And, so the historical accuracy of having the colors was and is and remains mission critical. The universal colors, I need a dark brown.
Yep.
You're fixing a Christmas ornament, or you're doing an art project with your kid. Are you going to go use the French natural sienna, or
Just grab some brown.
no, you're just going to grab
Yep.
brown, and you're going to use that. So
Oh yeah.
so that caters to just the general stuff that we do that doesn't
Well,
require.
and you never know when you're going to need. Last week I showed my little Incredible Hulk. I needed some purple for his pants.
There you go.
Grab some purple. So,
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump over here.
We will never release an Incredible Hulk purple pant historically accurate color. It's just
But we might.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer a couple of these questions real quick, Jeff, before we move on through the list. Robert is talking about, does anybody prefer simple models as opposed to the mega kits? And I think the answer is yes, Robert. There's a little bit of everything for everybody. That's why I think that we're seeing a lot of these companies nowadays doing these basic kits and these deluxe kits. I was looking at one of the Mini Art P47s earlier today, and they offer those as a basic kit. They offer them as a advanced kit, as they call it. This is very commonplace with the ship manufacturers, but I have a feeling you're talking about older kits when they were really, really basic compared to today, because even some of the basic kits that the manufacturers are doing today are still so involved. So yeah, sometimes it's nice to just grab an old kit and pop it together. I think, Jeff, that's what you were working on, that little 72 scale tank that you were trying to get a video made, just to pop it together and build a kit for fun.
I can show it off. I'm hoping that it's stuck to the base and doesn't slide off. So this started in this little thing started in Kansas City this past weekend. I was hanging out with some friends, and we're sitting around, and I'll give him a shout out. It's Stuart Malone, who's the president of IPMS Great Plains down in Kansas City. So we're listening to his vinyl collection because, hey, vinyl is the new thing. And we were listening to Pink Floyd and sitting around his den, and somebody said, "Let's build a model." So we ran out to the truck that had all of the model kits in it. I rode down with a vendor friend, and out come the 72nd scale tank. So 2 hours later, I had this little guy done. So what I decided to do was a paint video for this particular model using scale colors. And the tank got done in time, and the video was about halfway through, and my software crashed. So as you said, 45 seconds before we went live, I'm in the private chat typing, "It's not going to happen." And then come on the air with a smile on my face. But this is an afternoon's worth of work with scale colors. Yep. Will it win at a contest? You know what? It might. Should I tell them about what happened this weekend, and dispel some of this? So I will anyway.
All right.
So I don't typically compete at shows anymore. I just don't have the time between doing all the paint stuff and the tracks and everything else, and being involved as Nationals chairman last year for Madison, and I'm head judge at our local show, which is this coming weekend. I don't compete. So I brought some stuff down to Kansas City. I figured, you know what, it's far enough away. And I put some things on the table. And I went down with 3 models, and I came home with 3 first place category awards and 2 best of awards, including best aircraft and best sci-fi. All of those models had Scale Colors products on them. Oh, there we go. Yep. The Mill 24 Hind is the trumpeter kit. Obviously, if you've got the kit or you've built the kit, I've done a lot of work to it. The engine was plumbed, and the cockpit is mostly scratch built and all that fun stuff. And there's the droids in the background that took best sci-fi. This was as we were packing up. So, you can win contests. You can win, high-end contests with Scale Colors. It's part of a system, and it might not be for everybody, but I think I've kind of proven time and again that if you adapt to the product, there are, it increases your likelihood that you're going to place at a model contest if that's something that's important to you. And there's no greater feeling in the world that I get personally when I get messages from people saying, "Hey, this model that I painted with your paint took a gold, or it took first place, or it took best of show." And I'm, for the last 8 years, I've pretty much lived vicariously through my paint customers who have had this really good success with it. So,
well, one of the things that I said when we first got started with this, Jeff, and whether you compete at a contest or not, because everybody doesn't, whether that's important to you or not, I think that we probably all would like to be a better modeler, if for no other reason, just for ourselves.
Absolutely.
And for me, the painting was the single most dreaded thing in the whole the model building process for me. And your paint kind of fixed that for me. So
That's
hey, you just got to get that video fixed up, and we
well.
can show that off next
I
week.
mean, the model is here. I mean, everyone can see it. You know, there's the model. So when you watch the video, you will see the various stages of this going from. I mean, this morning you were joking that the last time you had seen this, it was bare plastic.
Well, I think you sent me a picture of it last night at like 12:30 at night. You said, "Hey, I think I'll paint this for tomorrow night." I said, "Okay."
Yeah, it
So,
got a little over ambitious. The model got done in time, but yeah, the video is.
I got you. Rex wants to know if you're going to be at the show in Madison this weekend.
I will be. I am the head judge for IPMS Mad City Modelers local show this
Good
weekend. So
deal.
seek me out and come and find me. If you want to judge, I could use all the help I can get.
So,
Back to the
Jason's,
colors.
yeah, we're just going to jump all over the place tonight. So,
Yeah.
let me scroll down here to the aircraft, the German aircraft colors. As you can see, well, let me get your comment off the screen. We've got about, well, a little over half of them. So, we don't have all of them yet. There's 4 more that are coming, but you can see the first 6 there. I do have those on the shelf, and I should, unless for some odd reason we sell them all out tonight and tomorrow, we we should have them with us Saturday, Jason. So you'll be able to check those out in person.
And in the phase 3 colors, Jason, I want to look at 81, 82, 83, 84. And there's a little, historians kind of argue and bicker about what RLM 83 is supposed to look like, for example. Some say it's a bright green, others say it's just a variation of a dark green. So there's a little bit of research that has to go into that. I don't want to put the color out if it's not accurate. But sometimes history just doesn't tell us, definitively what a particular color looked like. So we will be adding the remaining Luftwaffe colors, and maybe depending on how their volume goes, we could even go back and look at some of the Spanish Civil War colors, the 60 series, the RLM 60 series.
Yeah, well, like I said, the sky's the limit. Stephen, you're asking about, are we going to do a site that's got which kits use which colors? And the answer is yes. But as you can see, we're trying to get everything done as fast as possible. Sometimes I am told that I should probably wait until things are done before I let the cat out of the bag, but I don't know. I guess that's just not how I roll. I like to keep you guys informed and let you come along with us on the ride sometimes. So you're kind of seeing all this as it unfolds. But this was the biggest hurdle to get by, was getting all the colors done and getting them listed so we know what we have, so Crystal knows what to make. Now that this is established, now we can start going through and creating those paint sets for each of the kits. Last week we put together a Gerald R. Ford paint set, and it sold out immediately. I've got together, it's not, you can't see it on the website for like I said, the website crashed, but we've got together a paint set for the USS Midway, because I've got a Midway over here on my workbench that I'm just started. So I got to have those colors. So I thought, well, I pulled them all together. Might as well make a paint set. So all that stuff is coming. So we'll get there. Let's see, what else do we have?
Unfortunately for us, there's only 28 hours in the day.
That's true. Jerry's talking about how, so we like the Colonel Sanders approach, and we kind of keep to ourselves on what we're doing. But I'll answer your question this way, Jerry. It depends on the color.
Yep.
You can imagine that white and black and 20B deck blue, we make a heck of a lot more of them at one time than we do some of the other obscure colors. But we kind of, my wife literally makes this stuff for us, and she mixes them all. So whatever she can keep up with, and as she's learning and getting better and faster, the volume per production run gets to go up. So we'll keep it going as the best we can for you guys. Let's see. Ed, I see your question. I think this is a loaded question that maybe we can get in at some other time. We're going to keep moving down the list for now.
Ed, I think I can answer it real quick.
Yeah, answer it real quick. I know it's a loaded question.
Yeah, current Coast Guard spar is a little darker and a little more gold than the 1890 spar. But there is a federal standard, and there's ST, whatever the government system is, the military spec system. There's actually a paint standard for Coast Guard spar. So if you need that, drop me a line and I can get it to you.
There you go. Miami's asking about white for your landing gear and your bays.
Yep, bright white is perfect. The reason that bright white is perfect is that it's a gloss, and it's a titanium white. So you spray that, you let it cure, and then you can put all the washes and hydraulic leaks and all that fun stuff on the landing gear that you need.
There you go. Let's see. I'm going to try to jump through any other questions real quick, then we'll get back to talking about the list. All right, while I look for more questions, Jeff, let's move down the list. What do we got in ship colors? I know Ed Groon's going to be excited about some of these additions, but what are we looking at here? We kind of already knew everything up through number 19, and then number 20 is our fun color Mountbatten pink that we've been talking about for a little while now. But give us a little lesson here on what we're looking at. Why do we have all these greens?
Well, I will start with Mountbatten pink. That
Sure.
has been, at best, it's an enigma. It has kind of baffled naval historians, myself included, for a number of years. There is no official designation or mixing formulas for that particular color. It was a color that was originally a British color. Lord Mountbatten saw it on a cargo ship in a convoy and realized that the ship disappeared, was practically invisible in low light conditions. So he decided to paint his destroyers that color because he liked to attack early in the morning or late in the evening. It kind of lost its relevance by 43, 44. But we have learned that the famous Atlanta class cruiser USS Juno was painted in this color at the time of her loss. And to give folks an idea, it's there you go. It is a mix of what we believe is haze gray and red lead. And if you mix scale colors haze gray with an oxide red or a rust red, say the Japanese linoleum color, if you mix them 50-50, kaboom, that's what you get. You get that actual, it's a gray with a purple, with a distinct purple hue to it. And I want to thank Ron Smith for providing us with those paint samples that we were able to replicate. So that started the whole cascade of all of these more obscure U.S. Navy colors that we have since gone ahead, finished the research for, and gotten them into production.
And
So,
I'll pull that list back up in a second. Jeff, let me answer this real quick question here. 411 maintainers asking about the price. We sell these for $3.25 per bottle, or if you buy one of the 6-packs, like this Gerald R. Ford set that we're out of now, you save $1 or $2 and get all 6 for $17.99. So that is our price on all those. So
yep.
There you go. Let's get back to this list, and you can carry on, Jeff.
So the pale green, the green series, the 43 revised greens were used a different tinting material, and the goal was that the mixing ratios would be the same as the purple blue series, but they would just use a green based tinting material to mix their paint. Those lasted throughout 1943 and into 1944. They were used on landing craft and amphibious ships, attack transports. Basically, all of the ships that you see when you watch videos of the landings at Iwo Jima and Okinawa and Kwajalein and Tarawa, and Saipan, Tinian, all of those, well, basically, if they carried Marines, those were the colors that you typically saw. The neutral colors, starting with SCN 27 and going to SCN 33, the pigments that were used to make the purple blues and the navy blues was becoming more and more scarce. And color studies in 43 kind of determined that it wasn't necessarily the hue of the color, you know, whether it was purple or pink or blue or what have you, but it was more the shade, the value of the color. So they replicated those colors in neutrals. So number 46 outside gray all the way down to number 4 deck gray, number 20 were designed on new ships, new construction, to replace the 5Ns and the 5Os and the 20B deck blues and those particular colors. There were ships that came out of refit in 45 that had previously been painted in blues that were now painted in neutrals. It's very difficult to ascertain which is which. You've got to really, you know, kind of go through the photos and do your research, because in black and white photos, the tones are identical. So, you know, a ship that's painted haze gray in a black and white photo is going to be look identical to a ship that's painted number 27 haze gray. So those colors were used in 44 and late 44 and into 45. Going back down to the mahogany flight deck stain, that ties into number 5 standard navy gray and 20B deck blue for your pre-war aircraft carriers. So if you're doing Lexington, Saratoga, Enterprise, Langley, they had that real pretty stained mahogany flight deck with yellow lines and numbers and whatnot. Copperoid is a PT boat color. It's a specific shade of red that was used on PT boats. And then the 44 greens and the 44 brown, those are all colors specifically designed for use on PT boats. And then Cavite blue, when the U.S. Navy ordered its ships to paint out of 5D dark gray and into 5S sea blue, Cavite was at the far end of the supply chain. So they got the orders, but they didn't have any product. So yard masters and ship's captains got real creative and actually purchased paint on the civilian market and mixed it up to come as close as they could to what was prescribed to be 5SC blue. So there were multiple ships, cruisers that were painted in this homebrew Cavite blue.
There you go.
And that really kind of wraps up just about all of the historical U.S. Navy colors from the 1930s up to the end of World War II. We could certainly go backwards and do some World War I stuff, and everything kind of got boring when they went to number 23 haze gray, modern haze gray, and everything has kind of been FS 26270, you know, since the 50s.
I'm going to shoot over here. I'm going to answer Stuart over on Facebook. So some of you guys probably don't see this comment, but I'll pull it up on the screen. He is, so Jeff, you said something a little while ago at the beginning of the show, talking about adapting to the system. So Stuart's talking about you've got to adapt to the system was a calling card of Mission Models Paint, which we have sold Mission Models paints. I know it well. A lot of guys love it. Nothing wrong with the paint at all, but that is their calling card because their paints do require a little extra attention, if you will. Stuart, Jeff didn't mean anything. It's nothing like the Mission Models paints. If you go to the website and pull up one of the paints, in our description, the system, if you will, that Jeff's referring to, it's not really a system. It's squirt the paint out of the bottle into your airbrush. Mostly it has to do with the air pressure that's needed to get good results, how to thin it, with alcohol and water or water. The fact that you can't really use a brush with it and get, the results that you'll probably want. And really just not letting it dry out in your airbrush because this stuff is hard as a rock when it dries. But what you said about making how-to videos, Stuart, is absolutely an excellent idea, and that's what we're going to start doing more of. In fact, like we already talked about, Jeff had a video that he was trying to finish up. We intended on showing that this evening, but that will have to wait for another Wednesday night. But yeah, we're planning on telling everybody how this stuff can be used, and hopefully it works for you as well.
And when I say you have to adapt to the system, I'm not being snarky. It's, if you've only ever driven an automatic transmission car and you get in and you find out that the car is a manual transmission, you've got to adapt.
Right.
You've got to learn how to use that tool. And the same thing holds true with any new version of paint, whether you end up liking the paint or not. And I've had people get angry with me. They've physically gotten aggressive with me that this paint doesn't spray like Tamiya. Well, then go use Tamiya. I mean, we do a certain thing, and in my opinion, we do it extremely well. Tamiya does their thing, and they do it extremely well. There's a balancing.
And that's why we continue to sell Tamiya paint.
And even now, I mean, I started this company, and I manufactured this stuff for 8 years, and I'm helping you manufacture this stuff, and I still have a rack of Tamiya paint, and I still have a rack of Gunzi paint. We don't make every single color.
Yeah.
But it's not like any other paint. And I've known Stuart a long time, dude. I kind of, that's kind of offensive if you're comparing me to MMP. But there's a learning curve that comes with anything. If you've never used an airbrush before and you get an airbrush, you've got to learn how to use it. You've got to learn to adapt to the system. You can't whack the airbrush with a hammer and expect it to do what you want it to do. You have to do, you have to adapt yourself to the tool, to the system. And I'm always available. You can drop me. You and I have known each other for 10 plus years. Drop me an email, drop me a message through Facebook, give me a phone call. And if you're having problems with the product, I will absolutely help you with it. And there are some guys who just don't like it because it doesn't behave like what they're used to, and they're not willing to change. If it doesn't look exactly like Tamiya, or if it doesn't spray like Tamiya, I'm not interested. Okay, then I can't help you. I'd love to be able to try to convince you otherwise, but I can't. So,
well, it's like we say, it's not for everybody, and
nope.
Heck, that's why we sell Tamiya. That's why we sell Vallejo. That's why we sell ICM paint.
That's why I still use them.
411, the color chart's listed on the front of our website. If you go to squadron.com, over here on the left side, it won't let me highlight it. Right here, I don't know if you can see my mouse on your screen, but it says Squadron Scale Colors color chart, and that'll pull that up, and that'll stay there. And as we go forward and get things in stock, we'll turn those pink ones into white ones.
Yep.
Let's see.
And I was looking at your mouse trying to figure out why my mouse wasn't moving, and it was because it was your mouse on
Oh.
the screen.
Well, anyway, back to this. As you guys can see, this is close to 300 colors. It's just short of 300. Our paint rack holds 300 colors, and there are a handful of colors that we are reserving from showing on this list, just trying to get them right first.
Yep.
But this is 95% of them, and it covers most of what you would need for most of the models that we would build. I saw somebody asked in here earlier, and I believe, David, perhaps you were the one that emailed me about this. The insignia colors for your stars and bars and all that stuff. We don't have those in here, and it's not that we can't do them. Like I've said a lot, the sky's the limit. But there are a lot of guys, myself included, Jeff included. I like masking things off and spraying, but for the most part, most of our customers are used to using decals. So it's just, instead of doing that color, we decided to give that slot in the paint rack to another color for the moment. But,
Yep.
Like I keep saying over and over, the sky's the limit. We can do it in the future, but at the moment, we do not have that color in the line.
If Brandon has his way by nationals in Indianapolis or Fort Wayne, we're going to have 600 colors.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to have anything left to research. I'm already, there's already just a handful of colors left. I think we have hit on probably 98% of all of the most common colors that are required by our hobby. Anything that we do beyond the 300 colors that we have are going to be very low volume, very esoteric colors. And then we have to look at the viability of, do we want to put a color into production that we're only going to sell 2 bottles of a year?
Right. Hey, and remember, if you're Jeff just shakes his head and laughs every time I bring this up, but we got a whole rack full of sci-fi and monster colors too, and I'm kind of leading up the naming of those. You've seen some of my names so far, but I'm having a good time with that. Hey, and Jeff, I don't know if you noticed, did you see what we have down here at the very end of the utility products? About the very last one, but I threw number SCC04 on you.
Oh,
yep.
Okay.
Yep. Had been having a little bit of interest in something like that, and I know we can do it. So we're going to add a satin clear.
Okay.
But the spray flow agent, as we have it listed, one of the things that we have listed on our how to use this stuff is the fact that you don't need to add anything to where's it at? It's somewhere in here. Flow control agent. Squadron Colors, Scale Colors includes a flow control agent in each bottle and is ready to spray. No additional flow control agent is needed. So why in the heck are we going to sell flow control agent if you don't in fact need it?
Because there are guys out there who refuse to adapt to the system. I'm not going to let this go. There are guys out there. There are guys out there who refuse to adapt to the system or want to try to sledgehammer the product by spraying it at 40 psi. And the minute you start doing stuff like that, you're operating outside of the parameters of the product. And one of the ways around that is to add additional flow control. And yes, I actually do keep a bottle of flow control on my bench, because there are times when I want the paint to do things that are outside of the envelope. So,
well, one of the things that's going to be very interesting, and I'm really looking forward to showing this off soon. I talked to Randy Van Dyke today, and he's the guy that kind of helped us come up with the flesh tone colors, which are not on this list. They're on the sci-fi and figure list. But he has one of these, our Memphis Belle kit that I keep talking about. Here she is. He's got one of those that he's working on, and he's using our paints to do that. and he is, hopefully, if things go according to what he's planning on doing, he's going to do a video on how to paint a figure, specifically talking about skin colors with an airbrush. Because I think in our Facebook group today somebody mentioned that you paint figures with a paintbrush, not an airbrush, and that, yes, yes to both. You can do both, but Randy is going to show us his technique on using paints like this to paint a figure with an airbrush. And what he does a lot of times is he will take these paints, even our paints, as thin as they are, he will cut them down and cut them even 50% or sometimes even more thin than that, to where they are so thin there's hardly any pigment in it. And he will he'll build up dozens of layers sometimes on a figure like this. And when you are thinning these paints more than we thin them, that's another reason that you may need that flow agent, because as soon as you start adding more alcohol to this paint, you're going to need some more of that flow agent to help you. So lots of different reasons outside of the normal use that flow agent might come in handy. So we've decided we will offer that.
It also comes in handy if you live in a very low humidity environment. I did a year's worth of testing on this product before I released it. And one of the things that I didn't do was do testing in Arizona or New Mexico or Southern California or Texas, where it's 0% humidity, because I'm up here in frozen Wisconsin where it's always 85% humidity. So yeah, if you live in places where there's relatively low humidity and high temperatures, you can add a couple of extra drops of flow improver to the mix, and it will probably improve your product performance.
All right. Well, guys, like I said, the list is available on our website. And somebody was asking a minute ago. Oh yeah, 411 maintainer. Yes, once the new, I can't believe the site crashed, but there's going to be all sorts of new functionality on the website as soon as it comes back. You might have seen up here, I've got this shop by brand now. So you can go in here and pick whatever brand it is you want to shop by. There's all sorts of new options. This new menu up here is going to completely change. You're going to be able to go straight to 48 scale aircraft or 350 scale ships, all sorts of fun stuff. When you click into the paint, as soon as it comes back online, as soon as you click in the paint over here on the left, there's going to be right here where it says in stock and modeling supplies, there's going to be a category that says nationality. You'll be able to click USA or Germany or Japan, and you'll see just USA colors. And then you can click ships. So you can narrow it down to where you're just looking at ship paints from World War II. So we've got all sorts of functionality like that that's coming, that was, again, supposed to be live this evening, but I overloaded the system. So
along with my video,
along with Jeff's video. So, well, Jeff, I guess that's gonna do us for the night. So I guess
we didn't even get into the second column.
Where?
Well, we've got all the Italian aircraft colors coming.
Give us the Reader's Digest quick rundown, and everything else will have to wait till next week.
Okay. Italian aircraft World War II, Polish aircraft World War II, French aircraft World War II, Russian aircraft World War II, including a set of faded colors, the two-tone gray scheme
right here.
The two-tone gray scheme that you see on Yak 9s and LA 5s, LA 7s. AMT 11 and 12 out of the bottle were very, very dark colors. And they had a tendency to fade extremely fast. And to the point where we recognize the faded versions of the colors more than we recognize the new version of the colors. So we did two versions of AMT 11 and 12. We did out of the bottle version, and then we did a faded version as well. And then we added a whole bunch of armor colors
Oh yeah,
as
let's
well.
scroll down here.
These are probably going to get everybody. Well, if you're an armor builder, it's going to get everybody worked up. We added the Russian brown and the Russian yellow to the 4BO, to the two 4BOs that we already had. We reached out to a couple of experts in the field and got some really good data on Japanese army armor colors. I'm not even going to try to pronounce half of them. And then Italian armor colors. Got some really good data. And so now we've got Italian, Japanese, and the additional Russian armor colors, as well as for you guys who do modern armor, desert army sand, desert tan, army cream, and earth red brown. So all of your MRAPs and your Abrams and your Bradleys and your M113s, all your Desert Storm stuff. There's your colors for those vehicles as well.
Heck
So there,
yeah.
you wanted the Reader's Digest version. There it is.
There you go. Well, that's great, Jeff. Thank you for being here with me tonight. I guess I'll go ahead and say goodnight to you, and then I'll say goodnight to everybody else. And
sorry,
we'll,
we'll have the video next week. Unless you want to just put it, we could just put it up on YouTube as well.
Yeah, we might as well just prepare it and get it up on YouTube whenever. Then everybody can watch it, and then we can talk about it later.
Yeah, I will be at IPMS Mad City Modelers on Saturday, Monona Terrace in Madison, Wisconsin. So if anybody is around, I'll be wearing the hat. I'll be the only guy there with the hat. So just walk up, try not to take a swing at me, introduce yourself and say hello.
All right, man. Y'all have fun.
All right. Have a good night. Thanks for your time, everyone.
Welcome. Well, guys, I appreciate you being here. We a lot of paint stuff tonight for sure, but that's kind of the going thing at the shop right now is all this paint line. But before you know it, we'll be talking about 3D printed stuff. We got a lot of that stuff planned, and as I say a lot of times, the calm before the storm. We're finally about to get a bunch of shipments in. At the beginning of the show, I was talking about the slow boat from China that's going to be here in the next few days. And then shortly after that, we've got a almost as slow boat from Europe, from that area, on its way with all sorts of good stuff in there. ICM, Mini Art, Edward, all those things that we want. I'm looking forward to these P40s from Edward. I can't wait to see those Pacific version markings and just all sorts of stuff. So y'all come see me this weekend in Marietta or up in Madison. Say hello to Jeff. Looking forward to it, as I always do. And that's going to wrap us up for this evening, guys. So take it easy and have a great weekend, and I will talk to you very soon.